Hi everyone, so today we're going to talk about the compendial requirements for parenterals. So, for parenteral preparations, these are defined as solutions, suspensions, emulsions for injection or infusion, powders for injection or infusion, gels for injection and implants. They are sterile preparations intended to be administered directly into the systematic circulation in human or animal body. They are required like pharmaceutical dosage forms to meet the pharmaceutical quality standards as described in pharmacopoeias and to be safe for the intended purpose of the use. So parenteral preparations is very common and has an advantage compared to oral kasi nga direct sila sa systemic circulation and walang first pass effect. So for the categories of parenteral preparations, we have 5. First, in the injections. Under the injections, we have intravenous, intramuscular, subcutaneous. So, sa injections, marami yun siya. Meron din tayong intraperitoneal and other more. Pero these are the common. Itong tatlo yung pinaka-common. Number 2 is in the intravenous infusions. Number 3 is powders for injections. Number 4, concentrates for injections. And number 5, implants. Moving on to the requirements for the specific types of parenteral preparations, we have injections. So these are sterile, pyrogen-free solutions or dispersions of one or more active ingredients in a suitable vehicle. Single-dose injection should not contain antimicrobial preservatives unless justified and authorized. Pag multi-dose preparations naman, they contain a suitable antimicrobial preservative in appropriate concentrations, except in cases where the preparations themselves have adequate antimicrobial properties. Basta guys, ang tandaan nyo, pag single-dose injections, they are only used once for a single patient. That's why they don't need antimicrobial preservatives. Pero pag multi-dose preparations naman, these are used in more than one patient or more than two patients. Siyempre, pag multi-dose, marami. And that's why they have antimicrobial preservative kasi nga, it is to help retard the bacterial growth of the kasi 'di ba pag magpasok yung needle sa example sa closure niya, kailangan na ma-retard yung bacterial growth or para ma-prevent kasi paulit-ulit yung pagpasok. Next is the intravenous infusions. So intravenous infusions are also sterile, pyrogen-free, aqueous solutions or emulsions with water as continuous phase, usually prepared to be isotonic. On visual inspections, emulsions for intravenous injection should show no evidence of phase separations. So all sterile or parenteral preparations are sterile and pyrogen-free. And then for intravenous infusions naman, we have kasi dito na meron kasi tayong parenteral emulsions, which is there is a heterogeneous system in which the lipid phase is dispersed in a aqueous phase or aqueous solution. Tapos, ma-stabilize siya through the use of emulsifying agents para naman maging tool or serves as a vehicle for those compounds or for those substances na hydrophobic or lipophilic. Yun. Next is for powders for injection. So these are sterile again, pyrogen-free, solid substances, including freeze-dried materials distributed in their final containers, and which, when prescribed volume of the appropriate sterile liquid is added, rapidly form either clear and particle-free solutions or uniform suspensions. So powders for injections are ready-to-use injectables in the market. Kasi they are only used for a certain day or a certain kasi nga there is an instability in the aqueous environment. That is why we have these powders for injection. Kung kailan gagamitin, ganun lang, yun lang din yung pag reconstitute. Kasi meron siyang reconstitution process to make it into a suspension or solution. Another is the concentrates for injections or IV infusions. So these are solutions intended for injection or infusion after dilution. So before administering to the body, they should be diluted first. Yun. Next, implants. So are solid preparations containing one or more active ingredients. They are of a size and shape suitable for parenteral implantation and provide release of the active ingredients over an extended period of times. All requirements for these specialized dosage forms are given in the individual monographs. So implants are, ang pinaka-common sa implants are the contraceptive implants. Kung sa diin suppress ang pag-ovulate sang egg cells. Damo-damo sang there are different types of implants, pero ang pinaka-common lang gid is the contraceptive implants. Moving on to the compendia criteria. So these are the criteria, of course, to be sterile and pyrogen free, to be clear and practically exempt of visible particle, and to be free from sub-visible particles as required by pharmacopoeias, EP, USB, and JP. There should be no evidence of phase separations for the emulsions or aggregates formation of aqueous dispersions such as injectable MAB preparations or monoclonal antibody preparations. In case of suspensions, the SU of appropriate particle size in any sediment should be readily dispersed upon shaking to give stable formulations and ensure the correct dose to be withdrawn and injected. So, pag suspension, it should be shaken. For the manufacturer naman, the manufacturing process should meet the requirements of good manufacturing practice or the GMP. The following information is intended to provide broad guidelines concerning the main steps to be followed during the production. The quality and grade of starting materials, the design and maintenance of the equipment, and the method of the manufacture. For the effectiveness of antimicrobial preservatives present in the preparation. So always remember guys nga sa parenteral preparations, the effectiveness of antimicrobial preservatives only last for 28 days. Kapag mag-exceed sa 28 days, ibig sabihin kailangan mo na i-discard ang solution nga na kay hindi na siya effective. For the manufacture again, these are to contain dispersed particles, manufacture of liquid preparations, manufacturing certain procedures should be validated and monitored by carrying out appropriate in-process controls. Of course, and in terms of manufacturing, there are stages of manufacturing naman, diba? Also araman ng life cycle management. So, tanan dito kailangan i-apply. Whether it's parenteral preparations or oral dosage forms at kahit ano pa dyan. For the containers naman, parenteral preparations are usually supplied in glass ampoules, bottles or vials, in plastic bottles or bags, or in pre-filled syringes. In case of light-sensitive substances, the container should protect the contents. For closures for parenteral preparations, containers are equipped with a film seal to prevent the entry of microorganisms and other contaminants while permitting the withdrawal of a part of the whole of the contents without removal of the closure. Closures for multi-dose containers are sufficiently elastic to allow the puncture to reseal when the needle is withdrawn and protect the contents from airborne contamination. Of course, pag multi-dose, kailangan niya maging elastic or flexible para para magbalik gyapon sa dati tong ginagingan sang needle. Next is for visual inspections. We should inspect the solutions and reconstituted solutions using at least 20 containers for single-dose preparations. They should be clear and free from visible particulate matter, and evidence of physical and or chemical instability may be phase separation and emulsions, discolorations, or preparation of solid matter. Another than the manufacturing, the closures, and sa ano pa is the bacterial endotoxins or pyrogens, the particulate contamination, and the labeling. Mga compendial requirements din sila na kailangan ma-meet para makapasa sa standard. Moving on to the finished product quality control of sterile dosage forms, we have number 1, the Likers test. So it is used in autoclave, or ginagamit dito is autoclave, wherein there is a negative pressure and of course 1% methylene blue. For the clarity test naman, visual inspection for the particulate matter. Of course, to test the clarity of the solution. For the sterility test, we have 2, the membrane filtration and the direct inoculation. So, ang pore size sa membrane filtrations is 0.22 micrometer. Pag bacterial pore size naman, 0.5 micrometer, as well as the aerobic or the staph aureus. So, sa membrane filtration, it is widely used compared to direct inoculation because direct inoculation is very traditional method for sterility test. So, sa membrane filtration, there is of course, a filter na filter ang solution through a membrane filtration. And then, pag direct inoculation naman, we have this nutrient medium. We have fluid glycolate, which is used to detect anaerobic bacteria. And the soybean casein digest medium, which is used to detect aerobic bacteria, like for example the Saltilus, and the fungi, like for example the Candida albicans. For the pyrogen test, we have of course qualitative biological test based on fever response to rabbits. Initially, sa pyrogen test, ang procedure dyan is the rabbits and the lal methods. So sa rabbit test, there is 3 rabbits na first na i-test. Pero initial pa lang yun. Pero kapag hindi ma-obtain yung standard requirements or yung result, kapag negative ang result sa rabbits, ibig sabihin, they have to add another 5 rabbits for retesting. So all in all, we have 8 rabbits to be tested. For the criteria for initial test, each rabbit has a temperature rise of less than or equal to 0.5 degrees Celsius. Mag-retest ka if ang rabbit has a temperature rise of greater than 0.5 degrees Celsius. For the criteria for retest, not more than 3 rabbits each exhibit a temperature rise of greater than 0.5 degrees Celsius. The total temperature rise for all 8 rabbits is less than or equal to 3.3 degrees Celsius. Basta ang tandaan nyo guys, sa 8 nga rabbits kanain sa overall niya, kapag kapag non-pyrogenic ang isa ko solution, ibig sabihin, ang rise lang sang temperature sa rabbits is 3 or not more than 3. Pero kapag mag-exceed siya sa 3, ibig sabihin, pyrogenic na ang solution. Yun siya. And hindi na siya nakapasa sa standard requirement. For the bacterial endotoxin test, it is simpler, more rapid, a greater sensitivity. So, ang LAL is limulus amoebocyte lysate, which is a blood of horseshoe crab or Limulus polyphemus. Ang methods dito is we have gel clot technique and photometric technique. Under photometric is turbidimetric method and the chromogenic method. Sa bacterial endotoxin test naman, ang procedure nito is that there is a combination of 0.1 ml of sample test with the LAL reagent. And then i-incubate siya for 1 hour at 37 degrees Celsius. Kapag nagkaroon sang clot or gel clot, ibig sabihin may isang protein nga uh, uh, aggregate or coagulate. Kapag may protein nga nag-coagulate, ibig sabihin there is a positive in the toxins in the solution. Kasi kapag merong gel clotting sa methods na ito, sa gel clotting technique sa solution, ibig sabihin positive na merong endotoxins. Pero kapag wala, ibig sabihin walang endotoxins. For turbidimetric method naman, syempre balaan naman na. For chromogenic method, color determination is used. So, ang tandaan nyo, basta chromogenic method, sa solution, sa sample tube, kapag yellow ang color ng solution, kasi 'di ba may araman sa reagent kang kinbutang. Kapag yellow ang color ng solution, ibig sabihin there is a presence of bacterial endotoxins. Yun. So these are the examples of turbidimetric and chromogenic methods. 6 is for the particulate matter in injections. So it measures the amount of microscopic particulate matter. So, ang methods nito are light obscuration particle count test, which is based on the shadow produced through the blocking of the light transmitted, which is not reliable and not all solutions are clear. And then, microscopic particle count test. So, as I've read, ang light obscuration particle count test has a wider applications than microscopic particle count test. Sa microscopic particle count test, I know familiar naman kamo sa dere. So, ang ganahin mo sa is we have a microscope and then the sterile preparation. And then, ang sterile preparation, i-filter to siya. Pagkatapos ng filter, ibutang dito sa 1.0 micrometer polycarbonate filter. Amot ang ginagamit. And then, itong filter or polycarbonate filter nga to is I will be undergo microscopic procedure. And then dito makita ang particles. Kasi 'di ba pagdating sa microscope parang may grid lines yan or circle kung sa diin dito makaigo ang particles. So ibig sabihin kapag ang particle count is greater than or equal to 10 and 25 particles, there is amo tong makapasok sa standard requirements. And then kang under 10 micrometer merong 32 sa amount ng particles. And under 25 naman meron tayong 18. Kasi 10 micrometer and 25 micrometer are particle sizes. So, yun. So, that ends my report. Thank you for listening. God bless.